Let's get started. I will call the City of Milton Virtual Common Council meeting to order on Tuesday, October 19th at 2021, and I have 6 p.m. And can I get confirmation of the appropriate meeting notice?
Posted at Hometown Ace Hardware, Milton Piggly Wiggly, and Milton City Hall.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Is there anyone opposed? All right, the agenda is approved. We have an agenda to move forward with. And the Pledge of Allegiance, and you can see the flag behind Inga. So we'll just say this all together. I pledge allegiance
To
the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, public comments regarding items which can be affected by council action. I think we have somebody from the Milton Youth Coalition here. Oh, there you are. And I had said prior to the beginning of the meeting that we might have someone here that would have a thank you and some comments for the city council and a little bit of an update on where the coalition is with their drug-free communities grant. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this over to Verlene. And if you can say your first and last name and your address and your affiliation, thanks.
Sure, thank you. I'm Verlene Orr, and I'm the chairperson of the Milton Youth Coalition. And very, very delighted to speak tonight to say thank you to the council and city employees for their participation and approval in us applying for the Drug-Free Communities Grant, which we received. So if I could just read a thank you that will be coming in the mail. Dear City of Milton, the Milton Youth Coalition is taking this opportunity to express our gratitude to the City of Milton for the part you played in working with our coalition on the federal Drug-Free Communities Grant. We are excited to report that we were awarded this federal grant, which awards $125,000 annually for 5 years to aid our coalition in providing advocacy and awareness programs associated with underage drinking and substance abuse. In April, the City Council approved the city to serve as the fiscal agent for the grant. Several City of Milton employees worked with coalition members on the grant application process. Thank you to Al Hewlett, City Administrator, as well as Dan Nelson and Inga Cushman for their work in providing information for the grant application and in planning processes and procedures that will support the work of the project coordinator once we hire one. Thanks also to Ashley Kunkel, the director of the Milton Public Library, who is serving as the project director. She will be working with the project coordinator, and together they will be responsible for all money received and expended with grant funds. With the support of the City Council and the named City of Milton employees, the coalition was able to apply and secure the grant and continue advocacy efforts throughout the Milton community. Our coalition is excited about the opportunities that lie ahead, and we are grateful for your support and partnership. Sincerely, signed by the Executive Committee of the Milton Youth Coalition, myself as chair, John Curzan as vice chair, Anissa Welch as treasurer, Sarah Stuckey as secretary for the Milton Youth Coalition. This is an exciting opportunity for a coalition, as well as the City of Milton to do some good things for youth. Thank you.
Verlene, and we're really excited to partner with you. Does anybody have any questions or comments, council or anyone, before we move on to the next exciting proclamation? Linda?
I just want to say thank you for all of your hard work and helping us to control these things that our kids are so easily able to get into.
Thank you.
Thanks, Linda. Anyone else? All right, thank you so much, Verlene, for coming, and the council and the city staff and everybody on the coalition for strengthening this partnership. And we really look forward to everything the future brings. All right, so our next item on the agenda is the proclamation for Be Kind in Milton, Wisconsin for Wednesday, October 20th, 2021. Whereas the purpose of Be Kind in Milton, Wisconsin is to recognize that simple acts of kindness enable our schools, community, businesses, and organizations to be kinder, safer, healthier, and promote a more inclusive place to live, work, learn, and play. And whereas October is National Bullying Prevention Month, and whereas kindness helps us to form meaningful connections with others, which are reported to be a strong factor in increasing happiness and discouraging bullying. And whereas the Milton Youth Coalition has a long-standing history of promoting living the Milton way, teaching and recognizing kindness in schools and communities fosters empathy, builds community, reduces bullying, and nurtures a safe and welcoming environment. Whereas kindness has been proven to boost serotonin, reduce stress, increase positive affect, release endorphins, and the hormone oxytocin in numerous scientific studies. And whereas by promoting kindness, we are promoting inclusivity by extending an opportunity for grace, empathy, dignity, and acceptance to all in the city and school district of Milton. And whereas practicing and celebrating kindness is to look for the good, bridge connections across differences, restore hope, and empower people to make our communities strong. And whereas the city of Milton can lead by example in partnership with the Milton Youth Coalition, the school district of Milton, and the Milton Area Chamber of Commerce in promoting positivity and supporting a culture where schools, businesses, organizations, and individual citizens can come together to acknowledge, connect, and promote kindness throughout the community. Now, therefore, I, Anissa Welch, Mayor of the City of Milton, do hereby proclaim October 20th, 2021 as Be Kind in Milton, Wisconsin Day. And there's also a hashtag, Be Kind in Milton, Wisconsin, and encourage the wearing of orange clothing and acts of kindness throughout the day, and call this observance to the attention of our community and to inspire ongoing kindness in all the days that follow. All right, that took about all the oxygen I have right now. So tomorrow is October 20th. Let's all wear our orange and do inspiring acts of kindness. And that does not count as our team building. So just so everybody's warned about, there's still team building coming. All right, approval of the consent agenda.
Move approval.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Is there anyone opposed? All right, that motion carries. Discussion and possible action regarding the transfer of Central Park to the School District of Milton.
So 2 weeks ago, we had a discussion at the council level about this item. As folks may recall, back in 2018-ish, the school district originally approached the Milton Common Council and started the conversation about potentially transferring Central Park to the school district so they could make improvements to the tennis courts. Right now, the tennis courts reside in Central Park, but they are actually the property of the school district and has kind of a perpetual lease with the city. school district wanting to make improvements to those properties as well as other future potential improvements to those properties for their co-curricular activities. Reapproached the city this year about re-engaging that conversation. Council met with Superintendent Dahman a couple of weeks ago and directed staff and legal counsel to draft an agreement that would transfer Central Park to the school district. That agreement is attached in tonight's packet. The city and the school district are agreeable, or the city legal counsel and city administration and school district legal counsel and school district administration are agreeable to the terms outlined in the agreement. If the council does approve this transfer this evening, this will go before the school board, I believe, next week. And then we will let the two attorneys, our attorney and the school district's attorney, work out the details of when conveyance would actually take place. I know that Superintendent Dahman is on here this evening. I saw his name at one point, but maybe he's rolled over to the second screen now. And he let me know that he would be available for questions if the council had any questions. And just for folks that are kind of new to this discussion, if this transfer does go through, Central Park would be treated similarly to how Schilberg Park is. Schilberg Park is a school district park, and Central Park would then become a school district park as well. But they would still be open to the public. Pavilions could still be rented for family reunions and whatnot. Adult and youth leagues could still utilize those facilities for their combined sports, as well as individuals who just want to stop out and play catch or knock a tennis ball around. So for all intents and purposes, there really wouldn't be any change from the public's perspective on how those facilities are being utilized or how to utilize them. But the transfer would occur really on paper, and then the school district would assume all maintenance and liabilities for that facility moving forward. At the last meeting, Superintendent Dahman indicated that they would be making improvements to the tennis court and paving the parking lot at Central Park, which certainly would benefit the entire community. So council directed myself and Attorney Schrader to begin that process, and that's on the agenda this evening for your consideration.
Okay, I'll just go around to council members. Bill Wilson, do you have any questions or comments? Bill, if you have questions or comments, unmute yourself, please.
Looks like he's trying.
Yeah, I tried to. Don't know what happened there. I have no questions at this time.
Okay. Ryan Holbrook, questions or comments?
No questions or comments.
Larry Lane, questions or comments?
No, except one comment. The Plan Commission did forward a favorable approval to the council about this. So,
Yeah,
Yep,
thank you
correct.
for mentioning that, Larry. Appreciate that.
Yep, at our meeting tonight, prior to the council meeting. Linda, questions or comments?
No, I don't have any. Thank you.
Devin, questions or comments?
No questions.
Teresa, questions or comments?
No comment.
Did I miss anybody? I've never had, I don't think I've had so many squares on my screen in a long time. So
Yeah,
if I
right.
miss you, it's my fault. It is nothing to do with you guys. All right. And I see our attorney is raising his hand there.
Thank you. I just had a question of either Mark or Howie. Assuming you're there, I can't tell. So I wasn't able to reach you today, so I apologize for that. But I just want to make sure as to whether or not, as a condition for approving the agreement, should the council choose to do so, do we need to also address any easements for water mains or anything else, any other utilities?
You should probably just have an easement for the hydrant on there. I think you took care of the right of way already. So.
Yes, that was taken care of. So, all right. Okay.
If council were to make a motion, would that be a condition that they would
Yes.
add to that? Okay.
Yes, please. Yeah.
Linda?
I would like to make a motion to approve the agreement to convey Central Park to the Milton School District with the hydrant easement inclusion.
I'll second that.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Is there anyone abstaining? Is there anyone opposed? All right, that motion passes unanimously. Presentation, discussion, and direction regarding the draft of the 2022 annual budget preparation. So if there's anybody that was on previous agenda items that wishes to leave the Zoom meeting, we will not be offended if you have other things that you want to attend to, but as always, everyone is welcome to stay for the entire meeting, especially for the budget presentation, the nonprofit presentations, and team building. So without further ado, I will hand the meeting over to Al.
All right. Inga, I assume I have the ability to share my screen.
You should. If you don't, let me know.
Okay. I'm gonna do that right now. Okay. Can everybody see that? The presentation?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. So here we are in the early stages of the budget approval process. Staff has really been in the budget process probably since June or July. But as we typically do in our meetings in October, we give a draft budget presentation. And then we continue to work on the budget until its adoption at some point, either in late November or early December. So this will be the first kind of public view of the draft budget. I'll talk about at the end of the presentation that there are still a couple of pieces that are yet to be determined. And those all really kind of revolve around numbers that we get from the state of Wisconsin in terms of CPI, final road aid numbers, and final shared revenue numbers. Those should be coming in the next couple of weeks. And as we get those numbers, the budget really starts to crystallize. But in terms of the operational aspects of the budget, those items have been kind of vetted by staff. And I've had meetings with each department head and various members of staff to kind of work through those processes. So if there are changes to the budget, which there most likely will be, hopefully just very minor changes, we will work those through the system as time passes. So let me see if it's going to allow me to. There we go. Okay. So here are a few highlights of the budget as it stands today. And again, just so folks are aware, there is a likelihood that some of these numbers will change. The likelihood of those numbers changing drastically is slim to nil, but there will be probably some minor alterations to some of these numbers that are presented tonight. Some of the highlights as we see it today: expenses for the city of Milton will actually decrease next year. I don't know that we've had that situation before, but that is primarily due to turnover in our organization. As we've talked about numerous times in the year 2020 and 2021, we were victims of the silver tsunami. No offense intended with that comment, but I think that's parlance of the time. We had a number of folks retire, and some of those folks were kind of part of a longstanding administration of the city. So as some of our veteran employees retire, new employees come in at a much lesser wage rate, and we will see our overall expenses decrease by about 0.5%. Overall, we will only collect $2,999 more in 2022 than we did in 2021. That is a very small increase in terms of levy. When we say taxes collected, we mean our levy. We saw a tremendous amount of growth in 2020. Over $32 million worth of equalized value growth. A lot of that was from new construction, but also some of it was just organic growth due to rising property values. This is the number that I'm certainly most proud of, and hopefully is one that catches the headlines or people's attention. We will see a major decrease in the city's tax rate. Right now, we are projecting a decrease of 15.37%. That number likely will change, but should only change by 0.1%, give or take. That is a major decline in our tax rate. It's exciting to announce. What that equates to is roughly $1.50 decrease in our mill rate. And again, that's primarily due to the increase in equalized value that we witnessed in 2020. As growth occurs, tax rates decline. That's always kind of the hope and the model that we all live by in the state of Wisconsin. Due to levy limits, we are constricted in how much we can collect in taxes. So as values increase and as development does occur, as long as the numerator of that equation doesn't increase, we will see a decrease in our taxes. And that is certainly what we are projecting for our 2021 tax bill made payable in 2022. And as we have seen for the last several years, there is no new levy-supported borrowing in this budget. And we hope to see that trend continue, but understand that there are major things on the horizon. This is just a reflection of expenditures. In the 2021 budget, we saw our expenditures at about $5.1 million, which was about a 1.5% increase over the previous year. And as I noted on the last slide, we will actually see that number decrease in 2022. So what does this all mean? We will levy to the max. Our levy max is $3.4 million. Again, this represents an increase of only $2,999 over the last year's levy. If somebody said, why don't you just round that up to 3,000? The answer is we can't because of levy limits. So I'm forced to say $2,999 several times tonight, which is a bit of a tongue twister. But as presented on October 19th, meaning tonight, the draft budget does qualify for state imposed levy limit caps and does qualify for expenditure restraint. So very rarely in my time that I've been here, have we been sitting in that position in early October, that we will, if we were forced to adopt the budget tonight, which legally we cannot, but if we were forced to adopt it tonight, we would qualify for levy limits and expenditure restraint, which is a tremendous achievement at this early stage of the game. And there is no reduction necessary at this time. So no reductions. So as we go through the budget, these numbers as presented today would represent a balanced budget that would qualify for expenditure restraint and levy limits. Now, again, going back to what I said before, as we see those numbers trickle in from the state, right now we have estimates. As those numbers become final, it may result in some tweaking, but we're certainly not looking at a $60,000 cut or $120,000 cut as we have seen in years past. So we are in excellent shape. This is just a general overview of where the levy has changed in the last budget cycle. You can see, again, employee relations, which pretty much makes up wages and benefits, is decreasing. Our non-property tax revenue is slightly increasing. And our other operational expenses are also decreasing. So overall, we are seeing a decrease in expenditures and a slight increase in revenue. There was a tremendous amount of conversation at our last meeting surrounding capital. So I've spent an extra time in this presentation to kind of outline where we sit today. In our budget, we have a number of $256,000. That is what is kind of denoted for capital. There's no magic to that number. It just simply is a carryover from the last 3 or 4 or 5 years probably on how much we generally allocate to capital. Right now in the budget, or I guess not in the budget is $256,000. On the list of capital items, unfortunately, they add up to $281,000. So we do have a little bit of work to do here. We will have to reduce our capital allocation or not our capital allocation. We will have to reduce the capital items on this list or reduce our budget in some other category in order to make these purchases and or improvements in our community. And this is pulled mostly right from the capital improvement program that Mark Langer prepared earlier this year. But there are a couple of small pieces of equipment that have come up over the last year that we know that we want to look to acquire. And that's really generally the first category. Hydraulic hose and crimper, $5,000, stand-up mower, $9,000. Pedestrian signs along North Clear Lake. This was a request of the crossing guard that serves at that corner. Anybody who's lived in Milton for any amount of time knows that that is a challenging corner, as it is a state highway intersecting with a local road. And in the morning and afternoon, we flip down the stop sign, and everybody starts to get used to it again in October or November. And then the school year carries on, and hopefully kind of everybody's used to it. And then summer comes and we don't flip down that stop sign anymore. And folks just kind of cruise through that corner as they should. And then when school starts back up in September, everybody kind of has to relearn that existing traffic pattern. So what we have, what we're suggesting here is one of those kind of flashing signs that when you want to cross the crosswalk, you press the button and you get that fantastic light show, as a way to draw additional attention to the fact that there is a stop sign present for a few hours each day during school time. There are 3 crosswalks at that corner, and we have an estimate that those flashing signs are about $10,000 a piece. So we have included 3 of those in this capital request. Speed limit meters. This is something that we've talked about through a number of years. We know that we have common speeding complaints along North Clear Lake, along Parkview Drive, and along North Janesville Street. And there are certainly other roads in the city of Milton that have concerns as well, South John Paul being one of them. But to put up those speed limit meters, those are a permanent speed limit sign that you see entering many communities, especially in Wisconsin, that kind of show the driver what their speed is. And it's a reminder to that driver that they may be exceeding the speed limit, and hopefully folks do the right thing and they say, oh shoot, the speed limit on this road is 30 miles an hour. I'm going 38, I better slow down. So we have 6 of those signs, which would address North Clear Lake, North Janesville Street, and Parkview Drive. 6 signs, 2 signs for each road. And those are about $7,500 a piece. So that's how we came to that $45,000 total. Every year, we always include 1.5 squad cars, and that's $73,000. We have some facilities and public land improvements. Liberty Park maintenance. This is a maintenance that actually is required of us due to the grant that we received about a decade ago for Liberty Park. Replace the steps at the Milton Public Library. Folks who have gone there have probably seen that, unfortunately, those steps have deteriorated and are in need of repair. And then our tree removal and replacement, which we have pretty much in every budget, that helps us keep in compliance with our Tree City grant that we apply for every year. Our street projects, as outlined in the capital improvement program, would be Woodcrest Lane plus sidewalk on one side of the street and Chapel Drive on one side of the street. What is denoted on this slide specifically is just the general fund portion. And you'll see on the next couple of slides what the total cost of those projects actually are. But on this slide, we are only talking about general fund purchases or improvements. So what I mean when I say general fund is these will be paid for through tax dollars that are levied or tax dollars that are collected, and not paid for through any enterprise fund such as water, wastewater, or stormwater. So as it stands today, we would need to reduce that capital list by $25,000. We can do that as staff, or if council has some suggestions. I know in years past, we have always kind of banked on there being funds left over at the end of the year to hopefully kind of make up any items that were left off that list. It's still too early to tell whether we will have funds available, but I think it's pretty safe to say we won't see nearly the amount of funds available that we have seen in years past due to the number of changes that we've had during the 2021 year itself. So that is something that is still unresolved. Again, what's in the budget is $256,000. What's on that capital list is $281,000. So we'll have to figure out where we come up with that $25,000. Either that means something gets removed from that list, or we reduce another line item in the budget by $25,000. Here are just a few things that were not included in the 2022 budget. The mini excavator, we know at some point we're going to need those for a variety of projects throughout the city, but mainly the cemetery. We'd like to replace the Crown Victoria, which is an old squad car that's been driving around the city for quite some time, with a new pickup truck. We'd like to replace the curb and gutter on North Goodrich Park and the decorative fence in front of the North Janesville Street Cemetery. In total, these items come out to be about 110,000. Those are the items that were kind of on the staff list, the staff priority list that didn't make it into this budget. Here are some non-general fund capital items that we will be looking to pursue in 2022. And when I say, again, non-general fund, that means that these dollars will come from another source other than levied tax dollars. So again, you'll see Woodcrest Lane plus one sidewalk appears here a number of times, as well as Chapel Drive a number of times, because those would be the two street projects that we would plan to do next year, similar to how we did Cottonwood and Blanche this year. They get spread out over the corresponding utilities, because when we go to do a street, we don't want to just repave it. We want to make sure that everything underneath it is also in good condition, similar to what we did on Front Street and a few years ago in Cottonwood and Blanche. So there are funding sources that are outside of the general fund. There is some large improvements planned for the wastewater treatment plant in the amount of 290,000. And we will see that kind of reappear in future budgets as well, as we know we have some work to do at the wastewater treatment plant. And the West Tower rehabilitation. That is the tower that is the new tower, as it's kind of referred to in town here. As folks probably have seen, it doesn't look all that great, but can't just go out there with some spray paint. It takes a little bit of work, so that comes with a big price tag as well. So again, these are non-general fund capital items. This is taken directly from the capital improvement program. In this, the only reason I included this is it just gives you kind of an indication of what the actual total costs are for each project. So you can see Woodcrest Lane actually has a total price tag of 248,000. And Chapel Drive has a total project cost of 96,000. So, and then you can see the other funding sources for those various items that we plan to do in 2022. I'm going to just, before I go on to that, I'm just going to stop here briefly if anybody has any questions about this. We've never really dove this deep into the capital items, but I know it was a big discussion a few weeks ago, so I wanted to make sure we spent extra time on it. So does anybody have any questions about anything I've presented up to this point, not necessarily related just to capital? Well, we'll have time at the end too, once we see the whole presentation. There's not much left actually, so. Per council policy number 4, which was adopted a few years ago, nonprofit requests go through a process in which they submit a request and then they are placed into the budget and they give a presentation, which will be next on the agenda. This is just a historical kind of look at what has been funded to these entities. We have a new request this year, which is the Milton 4th of July. Historically, even before I came, there's always been a separate line item for the Milton 4th of July of $2,500. I saw Derek Henze when everybody was still up on the screen. He has submitted a request to up that to $5,000. The Gathering Place requested $30,000 and the Milton House requested $20,000. What's currently in the budget is what has been funded in previous years. Certainly that number can go up or down at the direction of the council, but we needed to find a place to start, and continuing funding from previous years was how we have typically done it in the past. And then council provides us direction if they want to see those numbers change. And just as a reminder, as part of the residual funds from 2020, although budgeted 2021, in the 2021 budget, the Gathering Place and the Milton House were both budgeted at $10,000. Each of those entities received an additional $10,000 in early 2021 through residual funds from 2020. So just wanted to make that kind of footnote at the bottom. So what was in the 2021 budget was $10,000 for each of those, but actually what they ended up receiving was $20,000 when all the dust settled from 2020. So as you know, anybody who's kind of seen my presentations in the year past, and believe it or not, this I believe is my 9th budget with the city of Milton. We always have the same goals. We want to have a balanced budget because we have to. We want to stay within levy limits because we have to. We want to qualify for expenditure restraint because there is that state incentive that is provided to municipalities who meet the expenditure restraint. We don't ever really want to see reductions in service unless it's absolutely necessary or a process has changed. And for the time being, we still have a goal of no new levy supported borrowing. This budget meets all of those check boxes. And as I said previously, we are in great shape right now as it stands today. A few budget unknowns. So the fire department allocation is budgeted for $459,000. That's the city's portion of the contribution. However, that will not be finalized until the Joint Fire Commission can meet and make a recommendation to their respective boards. I believe that discussion is going to take place next week, Tuesday, at the Fire Commission meeting. We don't have the final assessment ratio. Assessment ratio doesn't impact our levy, but it does impact the tax rate. So we won't know that until mid or late December. Road aid, shared revenue, computer aid are still currently listed as estimates from the city. That's not unusual. Typically, those come in towards the end of October and early November. And CPI, or certified, I'm blanking on what the acronym is, but CPI, the final calculation for that does not actually arrive at our desks until the end of this year. It is projected to be 3%. We certainly believe it'll stay in that realm, but again, 1/10 of a percentage point here or there will have an impact on allocations throughout the budget. Kind of just a few takeaways again, just to, in conclusion, wrap it up. As folks know, I like to kind of repeat the highlights. That's always one of my goals. The City of Milton's tax rate will drop in 2022. Right now, we are projecting a greater than 15% decrease in our tax rate, and that is excellent news for all business owners, property owners, homeowners in the city of Milton. We are maintaining current service levels. There are no service reductions in this budget. We will compensate all employees with the same increase. As you may recall, in the past, we have represented employees or union employees and then non-represented employees. Those who are represented employees have a contract that generally spans 2 to 3 years. We always try to match any increase that the union folks get with the non-union folks, but we're not always able to do that. This year we are. There is no change in percentage paid on insurance premiums, meaning that all contributions from the city and the employees will stay the same percentage. This budget maintains capital and infrastructure funding levels. I referenced that a few slides ago, that $256,000 is the number that has been in the budget for a number of years, give or take $1,000, and this budget still represents that. General fund expenditures are decreasing by 0.5%. And at this point, the budget does qualify for expenditure restraint and levy limits. There is no new tax levy supported borrowing component of this budget. What we have for a preliminary schedule, and this can absolutely change other than item number 3, the public hearing, we'll talk about that 2 items from now on the agenda. But what we have is tonight, the budget could be approved for publication. As you can recall from years past, publication does not mean that everything is set in stone, but by state law, we have to publish a budget. And then we have to hold a public hearing no sooner than 7 days after it is published. Because we have a weekly newspaper, and unfortunately we caught them right in the middle of their change on when they send their papers out. The budget actually won't be published until next Friday. So the next available time that the council would have for a public hearing based on that timeline would be November 16th. Then the council could approve the budget on November 23rd or at any other time thereafter. We just put the 23rd in there because it was the next Tuesday. So as you can see, this schedule would require a special meeting on November 23rd unless the council wishes to approve the budget on the same night of the public hearing. But I know in years past, we haven't wanted to do that, and the reasoning is sound for that. It doesn't have to be the 23rd. It could be the 30th. It could be the 24th. It could be the 22nd. But just sticking with Tuesdays, that's how the schedule shakes out at this time. What you'll see in this schedule is there's a gap. We have a meeting scheduled for November 2nd, regular council meeting. Unfortunately, we wouldn't be able to take any action at that meeting or hold the public hearing, but we certainly could have another budget study session or revisit any topics of conversation that the folks that the council wants to have or the public wants to have at that time as how the budget stands. And again, we'll probably represent a truncated version of this budget presentation as those numbers become solidified from the state of the state. So that's kind of where things stand today. That does conclude my presentation, but certainly am open to any questions that you may have of me or any members of the staff who have worked hard to prepare this budget. And even Kelsey, our brand new city treasurer, who just joined us last week, has gotten her taste of the budget as well. So certainly don't shy away from asking Kelsey the hardest question you can think of.
Thanks, Al. I'll just go around like I usually do and see if there's any questions or comments right now, real quick, and then we'll move into the presentation of the 2022 nonprofit budget requests. Teresa, I'm going to start with you, if that's okay, since you're right up there in the corner of my screen.
Not really. I mean, you know, certainly questions about the nonprofit area and question about the issue we talked about at our last meeting about as when we looked at the idea of the road improvement area as opposed to the request that was made at our last meeting about road changes on Highway 26. Where are we at with those? If we need to change one for the other, or can we do both? And so we'll need to discuss those two.
Yeah, I can jump in real quickly on that. Yes, we certainly could swap one out for the other. I think it comes down to what level of improvement do we want to make on North Janesville Street. I think last Friday or maybe Monday, everything runs together, is sent out updated, more hard quotes that Mark Langer received from the actual contractor to repave those shoulders,
right?
As well as the sidewalk extension and what may all be involved in that. So looking at that capital list, if we were to include a portion of that, let's say just the sidewalk, for example, I think that was around like 25,000. We certainly could swap that out for, you know, one of those other items on it. If we, you know, the pedestrian sign or the speed limit signs, for example, could easily cover that. If we wanted to do the whole project, Mark kind of had that estimated about 80,000. We'd probably need to take out one of those streets in order to accomplish that, because there would be a pretty big ticket item. So yes, that is, we're certainly looking for direction on that from the council, and what where the council sees the priorities within the capital budget and the capital improvement program. So,
Bill?
No real questions at this time. Nice job, Al.
Brian?
Nice work to everyone who put this together. It's kind of a nice presentation this year. Sometimes they're a little more doom and gloom. But one thing, just a comment, I guess, on page 6, you have a typo.
oh no,
Facilities and park lands. You have it as being a total cost of 56,000. That's 19,000, I believe.
oh,
Your numbers add up right at the bottom just fine, but
Yeah.
just heads up.
that was at one point there was, I believe, a portion of that was going to go to lift station number 6, but we ended up pulling that out of the budget. So
Okay.
yep, you're right. You're right.
It's a great presentation.
Thank you.
Linda?
Yes, thank you, Teresa. I was going to bring up that same thing with Janesville Street. Also, I know, Al, you and I had kind of talked about maybe the possibility of putting a squad car into the referendum, public safety referendum. I don't know. That's something that I think that we should probably talk about. It might be a place where we can, you know, I don't want to deplete the plan of the vehicles for the police department, but if we can get a vehicle ahead, I think that would be to our benefit. And then maybe we can use that money to do more on Janesville Street.
Thanks, Linda. Evan?
I don't have any questions, but thank you to everyone's hard work, and it was a good presentation.
Larry?
Yeah, thank you. I just was thinking about this a little more and listening to Al's presentation and all the work involved. I do appreciate it. Here's a thought. Perhaps we could try to figure out how to do the sidewalk there at Hudson and North Janesville Street to solve that safety issue, if we can find a way in the budget next year. And then put the additional, repaving or fit repair of the aprons along there into the wait list that we have, and look at that as a part of the project of any future development that goes along North Janesville Street. We already know one subdivision. We also know there may be a potential another subdivision going out on Bowers Lake. And we've talked about the idea of trying to connect the Fort Atkinson / 26 bypass trail into that area of the neighborhood of our city. So that's just an idea. It's a compromise. If we can somehow do that, we'll meet both needs. The only question I have, Al and Howie and Mark, is, and you don't have to know that tonight, but what's the criteria, or what should be the criteria to figure out which one of those on the wait list gets done in a given year? No pressure from me on that. You don't have to have an answer to that. Maybe you have a criteria, maybe you don't. And that would be the only thing I would throw out. So thank you.
Yeah, I would say the criteria is not anything that's scientific. Again, we always start with that number of 256,000, and then we back into it. Howie and Mark and Paul Smith in Public Works put together kind of a master list, and then they prioritize it to the best of their ability. And then again, we try to then kind of back into that $256,000 number. So there's no science or magic to it. It's really just what gives us the biggest bang for our buck. I guess, let me back up. What is the biggest need that we have? Then B, what is the biggest bang for our buck? And C, how much can we possibly get done with the limited amount of funds that we have available? So those are, I guess, if there are criteria, that's kind of what dances around our mind as we're having these conversations. The list always exceeds, the wants always exceed the available funds. We certainly, every organization, every single homeowner has that. Boy, I wish I could replace my windows, but I'll have to wait until next year because I really need to get to the roof. So that's just kind of, we treat it pretty similarly. Things come up throughout the year that we don't anticipate: broken equipment, changes in kind of community needs, wants, goals. But the CIP really is the base document that has the most amount of information, effort, and thought into it. So that's kind of the base. And then, if we can fit other things in, we do that to the best of our ability.
Well, and I appreciate that. The only other thing I want to add, if Mayor wouldn't mind, is I really think those meters would really be helpful. So I'd like to see us try to keep those speed meters in the budget as just a good way of reminding people entering our community, leaving our community, to slow down. So thank you.
Thanks, Larry. How do you decide what roads need to be paved?
When Mark Langer put together the CIP, and certainly Mark can jump in on this, it's based off the PACER rating. We try to address those roads that are in the worst condition as fast as we can, so long as the costs don't exceed it. As Mark referenced at our last meeting, in the back of the CIP is the PACER ratings from our previous PACER analysis. And Chapel and Woodcrest are certainly down there. They're 3s, and that's on a 10-point scale. So 3 is pretty darn low. So that's kind of where Mark starts the basis. What are the roads that are in greatest need of repair? And then again, really goes back to, okay, what's the available funding we have? So he puts together estimates for those roads, for all the roads, and then says, okay, these ones are 3s or 4s, and we've only got $250,000 to spend. So I think we can do this one and this one. but not that one. So that's going to get shoved to the next year. It's a little bit of a mosaic. Would you agree, Mark? Or
Yeah, and the only other thing I would add is that when I look at streets that need work done, I'm also trying to look at what's under the street. So if there's an old sewer, an old water main that's had a bunch of breaks in the last several years, trying to do the best we can so that we don't pave a new street and then have a water main break the next year. It's possible that could happen, but based on historical records, trying to incorporate those streets into the plan as well. And just trying to, again, touch several different aspects, using several different funding sources, and hopefully spreading the cost out among those different funding sources to try to accomplish as much work and improvements as we possibly can.
Right, thanks. So, Council, you have some things to go over and think about.
I see Linda has a question.
Oh, okay, Linda.
Sorry.
I'm sorry. I was just wondering, can you tell me again, what fund are we taking the water tower repairs out of? Is that coming out of the water fund?
Water utility, yep.
That is? Okay.
Yep. Yeah, that would be something that we could consider for ARA funding. But our hope is to have that conversation in, spring, or well, not spring, I'm sorry, January, February of next year. We'll hopefully start that process.
I would also add to that is a portion of the funding for the project. We funded the project over 2 years. The total funding amount, I think, is $450,000.
Correct.
I do believe, Council, that Al has sent you the slides for that presentation. So you can go back and review those and think about those, and then formulate some questions around the information that was presented tonight.
And just as a recap from what I've heard, and I would say that, from staff's perspective, we would agree. The first priority on North Janesville Street, if there is a priority, would be to try to figure out some way for that sidewalk to get connected. And as we talked about, it's a challenge because there's a lift station there and the topography. There's no curb and gutter. It may require us to acquire some land from that property owner, but it is something that could be addressed. So we'll continue to research that and try to get some thoughts on it. I think the numbers are pretty sound that where we're at today that Mark has put together, but what I hear from folks is that if we're going to do something, that should be the first item on the list.
Okay. All right. So the next portion of our agenda is our presentations by our nonprofits. And I'm just going to go with the Milton House if you're ready to go first. Is that okay? All right. So we'll start with the Milton House. And thank you very much for coming tonight.
Thank you for having me. I am going to screen share because I do have a PowerPoint. Let's see if I can get this working first. And there we go. All right, can everybody see that? And can everybody hear me okay? All right.
You might want to change to your next. Do you have two monitors, Keaton?
Yeah. Is it showing up? Oh.
Yeah, you're displaying kind of the preview page.
Try that. That fix it? No.
I mean, it's okay.
It's just like there. Is that
there
better?
You go.
All right. Okay. Thanks, Al. All right. Well, thank you, Council, for having me here for my second year to talk to you guys about the Milton House. For anyone who's new, my name is Keaton, and I'm the Executive Director at the Milton House. Tonight, I'm just going to talk to you kind of about what we've done over the past year and what we have to look forward to over the next year, hopefully with support from the city. So thank you all for coming, and I'll try and keep this short and sweet. Obviously, most of you probably know what the Milton House is. We're a historic house museum. We are also the Historical Society for the City of Milton. We were founded in 1948. We are an independent nonprofit organization. And we are here to preserve the cultural and historical heritage of Milton and the surrounding community, and then also to preserve the historic Milton House Museum. So we do operate the museum year round with tours and special events and fundraising in a variety of forms to keep the museum open and going. Why is the Milton House important? I think, especially over the last 18 months, we've seen how important history is and the telling of our history and how we tell our history. And the Historical Society and the museum is key to that, not only for the story of the Milton community, but also the story of our nation and how we have been dealing with some of our issues. So we have extensive archival resources that are available to people for researching from. If you want to maybe know history of your house or your business or your family here in Milton, we have extensive archival resources for that. Like I said, we do have tours which allow people to interact and engage with history in a very impactful and meaningful way. They get to walk in the footsteps of freedom seekers and have experiences that you just can't get anywhere else in the state of Wisconsin. Our 3D collection, we have an extensive 3D collection of a variety of basically anything you can think of in relation to Milton history. And we can use those again to help engage people with history of Milton. And then those 3Ds, one of our favorite ways to engage you with them is to use exhibits throughout our museum, whether it's in our lobby or in our actual museum, sending some of those pieces out into the community to be used, taking them to presentations so that people can see it, and really use our exhibits and our collections to tell the story of Milton. Along with that, we have a lot of special events that happen throughout the year. Thankfully, this year we were able to actually host the majority of them after having to cancel the majority of them in 2020. So in March, we have our Pioneer Dinner, which also serves as our membership meeting. This year, we did hold that virtually, as with COVID, we were unable to gather people together. And who knows what'll happen in March of 2022. May, we were finally able to host our Civil War Living History Days, although we did have to make some modifications to it, especially when it came to our school day portion. Public schools were not doing field trips yet. So we did have one school that brought about 250 kids in a virtual aspect. And then we had about 150 kids from homeschoolers on campus. So it was an experience. We learned a lot trying to balance a virtual presentation with live presentations all in one day. And Ryan can talk to that and did a phenomenal job with that. But the students that did attend really enjoyed it. And then we had what we think is our biggest Civil War days ever on Saturday and Sunday with the general public. And a lot of that was, we offered some new opportunities, some different events that people could attend, some paid presentations. And we just really tried to up what we were offering people throughout the day. And we also got really lucky with the weather. The weather was gorgeous. So Civil War Days was, I would say, a success this year, although in certain ways our numbers were still down in it. August, Arts and Crafts on the Lawn, we held again, really good weather. It's an outdoor event, but we did still see a decline in the number of vendors that we had and guests, and that was due to COVID kind of surging again around August. We had people get nervous about being at events, which is totally understandable. We were happy to put it on, but again, the numbers just weren't what we historically see. September, we had our Twilight Tours. We sold the majority of those out. That's becoming by far one of our most popular events we hold throughout the year. Just on this past Saturday, we had a paranormal event. This is our second year doing that, where we partner with another organization who does a paranormal walking tour. We had over 60 people attend that event, so that was exciting. And then coming up, we have December Wreaths on Parade, which we did last year, where people can decorate wreaths and then we auction them off. And then we are excited to again be bringing back a Christmas Carol the second weekend in December. So all of these special events are ways that we can engage the public with the site and with history in kind of a unique way. Maybe people who aren't interested in coming to a historic house museum are interested in coming to a paranormal event. They come to the event, they see the building, they learn a little bit of history, and then they want to come back and they learn more. So these events are drivers for a lot of different things for the museum. Milton House has a big economic impact. These numbers are not specific to the Milton House, but from Rock County for tourism and state and local taxes. You can see the numbers there. Obviously, 2020 numbers are down significantly because of that, which shall not be mentioned. But overall, the Milton House is a big driver economically for the city, for the county. We are kind of a de facto, welcome to Milton, welcome to Rock County. We get a lot of people who come here first, and then they're asking, where can I eat? Where can I drink wine? Where can I shop? Where can I stay? And we're kind of sending people out into the community and trying to really expand our tourists to go out into the community and learn about Milton and Rock County. So these numbers are, a good driver of what tourism does for our economy. Oh, I got extra pictures on there. Didn't click enough. We were lucky to get some more COVID relief funding this year. Our numbers were not back to what they have been pre-pandemic. Again, people are just still hesitant to travel. The surging of COVID in the late summer definitely hit our numbers hard. And we were unable to, again, host any school tours in the spring, which is a big revenue driver for us typically in an annual year. So we, again, were able to take advantage of the second round of the PPP, or the Payroll Protection Program, from the federal government. And then just recently, we received approximately another $10,000 from the Wisconsin Humanities Council to fund payroll costs for the months of August, September, October, and into November. So those numbers, those fundings have been crucial, but I don't see them being available in 2022. So that little bit of cushion that we've gotten from that payroll protection and the Humanities Council most likely will not be there in 2022. So helpful this year for sure. Here's just some of our income versus expenses. I have to move my thing to see which one. I think, red is expenses and orange is income, going back to 2018. And so you can see that we've been really focused on trying to reduce our expenses, still putting on quality events, quality tours, quality exhibits, and all of that, but doing them as economically as we can. And some of that is, just being more strategic about where we're spending money and why we're spending it. Figuring out unique ways to help drive some of that, but also, especially in 2020 and 2021, we kind of saved a lot of money just by being able to do stuff virtually, because it saves you a lot of money. You're not buying food, bringing people in, all of that kind of stuff. So some of that is just because of how we're still operating due to the COVID pandemic. It just, in kind of a weird beneficial way, it saves some cost for us, while still trying to make sure that we are offering things that people are looking for, whether that's Zoom presentations or small events or outdoor events that they feel comfortable coming to. Improvements that we've made to the museum in 2021. The big one this year was that we did a lot of technology upgrades. COVID really put into sharp relief that we were grossly outdated on our technology. We still had dial-up internet. Our computers were over 10 years old. We didn't have internet to the whole building. Our point of sale system was very, very outdated. And so through some different donations that we've been able to fundraise, we got a new point of sale system that streamlines our guests' experience. We were able to get high-speed internet to the building, and then actually get internet throughout the entire building. Because when they put the addition on in 2006, they only put internet in the new part. So the entire historic part had no internet. So when I was trying to walk through and do virtual tours, I would lose my stream as soon as I walked into the part where I actually wanted to do the tour. So now with that network, we're able to do tours throughout the entire building, and it actually covers the cabin as well. So we can stream all the way through the entire building, which has kind of been a game changer for us when it comes to streaming tours and stuff like that. And then we also were able to get new computers for staff, which has just saved us a ton of time. Instead of sitting and waiting for my computer to think about stuff, I can actually be doing stuff. So that technology has been a huge boost and will propel us to some things I'm going to talk about in just a couple of minutes as well. And then we also completed our updates to our exhibits, which was funded through a grant that we got in 2019 from the Network to Freedom. So we had done a big chunk of that last year, and we finally wrapped it up this year. It ended up taking way longer than we ever anticipated because of COVID, but it's done now, and guests have been very excited about it and have responded very well to all of the updates that we have made. So if you haven't been on a tour in the last couple of years, I'm going to put a pitch out right now. Please come. Even if you've been here before, you haven't seen it like it is now. So please come and take a tour. We would love to have all of you visit us and see these updates. Something I had mentioned in my presentation last year was a hope to get an audio tour up and running of the museum. And this would serve us in a variety of aspects. It would allow us to increase the accessibility of the museum without increasing the amount of staffing that we have to have. Basically, someone could come in, and if we don't have a guide available, we could say, hey, you can just download this app and walk through the museum and use your phone and go through and get a tour right on your phone. And so they'd still be able to go through even if we don't have a physical person. That's also good, for COVID and stuff, because we can send people through on their own without a guide with them. And we do still have guests who just aren't comfortable going with a guide right now. So it would increase our accessibility that way. We are going to be using an app called the Story app. Our program will allow us to have 10 different tours, which can include multiple different languages, some that are designed for people who are hearing impaired or visually impaired, on the autism spectrum, all of that kind of stuff. So we are handicap accessible because we have an elevator to all 3 floors, but this would make us truly accessible to everybody. And that's a big goal that I and my board have, is that this museum is accessible to everybody. And it also will help us set us up so that more from a virtual standpoint. So even geographically, maybe students in northern Wisconsin can't get here for a field trip, but they can use the app to engage with the site from their classroom, which even post-COVID, that's going to be huge in order for us to expand our reach. This is going to bring additional funding or needs for funding. We've got some of it secured already to at least get it up and running, but we will need to put some additional security cameras and stuff throughout the museum. So we're working on that as well and working on funding for that. Hopefully we're going to have this up by running in January of 2022. But right now, as you guys all know, there's a lot of supply chain issues. So I don't know if we'll be able to get the necessary stuff to do that by then, but that's our goal optimistically right now. So this is a project that going into 2022, I'm very, very excited about, and I think could really be a game changer for the museum. Quick, we were in the media again this year. Just some of the highlights. TMJ4 out of Milwaukee came and videoed a whole segment with us, and we were on for Black History Month in February. I went on to a new radio station in Milwaukee that's aimed at African Americans called The Truth. And I went on with them for Juneteenth, which is June 19th, celebrates the end of slavery in America. And I went on and promoted some of the stuff, talked about the museum as well. So that was a new market that we were hitting. Just a couple of months ago, I think it was August, like maybe September, I couldn't even remember. We were featured on Channel 3000's in the 608 segment. So Josh came down here and we were on 4 different times live, very, very early in the morning. But that's been a really good hit for us. I've had a lot of guests coming in and like, I just saw you guys on the 608, so we had to come over. So that kind of free exposure, all of those didn't cost us a thing, but made huge impacts. And so the more that we can get our word out there that we're here, people need to come see us, the better. And then Travel Wisconsin, again, they did multiple articles and stuff, email blasts on us. And they even sent a photographer and 3 models here to do some different photography images and stuff that we can use in our promotions. So that's been very exciting as well. Summer staff, most of our requests is from the city is to help with payroll costs of our summer staff specifically. So here are the kiddos who, shouldn't say kiddos, young adults, I'm sorry. The young adults who were here this summer. And again, we got so lucky with our summer staff. They are just, I tell people all the time, this town, I don't know what you guys do in your school system, but you do something right, because your high school students are just phenomenal. They're all respectful and they show up on time and they work hard and they're kind and they're smart. And so whatever you guys are doing, keep doing it, because it's working really well. And we're benefiting from it immensely. You can see that our payroll costs have gone down, which has kind of been strategic to some point. Part of it was, especially in 2020 and 2021, we just didn't know what to expect. And we didn't know how much we were going to be able to cover. So we sort of reduced down. But some of it too is just streamlining how we run our tours a little bit to try and be more efficient. We're not losing any accessibility to people, but we're just being more efficient about how we use our staffing time. Because eventually, hopefully in the next couple of years, we want to extend our staffing outside of just the summer. We are lucky enough this year, we've been able to keep one of our summer staff on. He comes just on Fridays. And between him and I, we've been giving every Friday, we've basically had 6 tours. We've been alternating back and forth, and all of them have had about 6 to 8 people. So we're in our off season, but we are still just as busy. And so the staffing not only is going to be important in the summer when our numbers have gone up and hopefully continue to go up, but as people want to come to the museum outside of the traditional tour season, which is June, July, and August, the more that we can have staffing throughout the year of this type, that would be great. So, yes, that's, I guess, the end of my presentation. So if anyone has any questions, I'm happy to answer them. I know I kind of rushed through, but I don't want to keep you guys all night here. I could talk about the museum forever. So again, thank you for my board, for me, for my staff, from all the volunteers and all the supporters of the Milton House. We have been so lucky to be in a community where our city supports us, because that is not traditionally how it is for historic house museums. And definitely, my experience here has been through the pandemic, and you guys have been nothing but supportive in a variety of ways, not just financial. So thank you. And I hope we can continue to have a great relationship.
Thanks so much. Council, does anybody have any questions? I can see some of you, but I can't see all of you on my view yet.
Keaton, do you want to unshare your screen?
Oh, yeah, good idea. Okay. No, that's not what I want. Stop share. That's button. All right.
There we go.
Sorry.
That's okay. That's all right. Does anybody have anything? Just raise your hand.
You're going to let me off with no questions? Wow.
I was just gonna say it's a nice presentation.
There you go.
You.
It was. You did an excellent job. And I can say, as someone that went on a tour recently, and there had been a lot of time in between tours, it is just fabulous. Staff is great, and they're just doing a wonderful job at the Milton House. So everything that Keaton said was true, and it's really exciting to see the city of Milton in all those different public venues, on TV, on different social media, and it's really kind of exciting and something we can really be proud of. So
thank you.
I just wanted to make a comment as well about the fact that the Milton House has really upped its game in the last, probably 5-6 years, with both Carrie and Keaton now. We've been in Milton for 22, 23 years, something like that. And the Milton House was kind of the characteristic little town historical society, and the Milton House, sort of knew what it was about, but I think struggled to have kind of a unified message. And, in the last few years, I think it's really found itself in terms of being socially significant as far as a historical society that isn't just fond remembrances, but really speaks to the rather unique history that Milton has in a pretty powerful way. So great job.
Thank you, Bill.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll go on to our next. I'm just going by how things are listed on my agenda. So open doors, Milton, 4th of July. Mr. Derek Hensey, you're up next.
I was afraid you'd say that because it was such an awesome presentation before me. I don't have a fancy PowerPoint presentation.
No fireworks?
No fireworks. I wish I had like little poppy and firework things coming out, but nothing fancy like that. So what I have to present to you guys is really straightforward and to the point onto this. So there's a change of leadership. I've been running the parade now for 5 or 6 years. I can't remember. And the FFA alumni have been doing a great job running the festival itself. And so obviously, as most people know, that they stepped down from that responsibility. And then somehow I became an army of one running the thing. So change of leadership onto that. So this is kind of a new evolution onto it. The Open Doors is a nonprofit that I started years back. that help support the Gentleman 101 program I do at the high school. And it's also the nonprofit I use to facilitate the parade costs and needs. So that's how the marriage of the festival kind of moved, working with the Open Doors nonprofit. Change of leadership. I think that this last event, I had a short order to plan it, and I think it was a successful, well-received event. I think everybody was excited to get out, enjoy themselves amidst the pandemic, this year of COVID. And so I want to keep on adding to that success. I see myself doing this for many, many years as I can. I think of the importance of the event. You guys are, I've taken over the reins of the cornerstone event for the city, really, that has years of history. And I just remember when I was knee high growing up in Milton, going to the Milton 4th of July festival and the parade. And so it means a lot to me personally, and also being a disabled combat vet, being a veteran myself, the 4th of July is a special meaning to me as well. So onto that, I would say above those nicety things, this is a major draw for the city, an extreme major draw, an economic event that draws people and spurs economic activity within the city. Not just from the tradition of drawing back alum from past years of high school graduates and family members coming to visit their families, but I will assume that adds property value to the parade route. And no, I'm not changing the parade route. With that is, I would argue that it's one of the largest or the best received 4th of July and known 4th of July festivals in the surrounding area, especially now that that church that did the Freedom Fest, now that is completed, that is done with as well. And from my understanding, it's no intention to be continuing anymore. That just brings that much attention to us in the surrounding area. So very important, significant event. When I took it over, besides having very limited time to plan, obviously the biggest challenge I had is I had no budget. I took it over with no funds. And so with great help and support from multiple people, I couldn't thank enough, they were able to solicit funds. And I was gratefully blessed that because of the change of leadership and people understanding that I'm starting with a budget of zero, I have nothing in the coffers, they were a little bit more gracious this year than maybe they would have been in years past. And we were just able to raise enough money to actually throw the event. The event cost was around $40,000. And then obviously within that, city support was $2,500 of that $40,000. So very grateful that everybody supported, and it was from businesses to personal people to even the gentleman, I love it, the gentleman at the Gathering Place, the fishing club, even threw in some money, $100 or wherever they could to support it. So everybody kind of geared up to support me behind here financially, and I was grateful. What it leads to is a big challenge, with Intuit, which I have no problem with the challenge, and being a businessman my whole life, understanding how to create income streams, reduce costs, all that, I say bring it on, and I'll do that. I need time to do that. The two biggest things that the challenging budget presents is I really do feel like one of the reasons why the FFA alumni step back is because they're doing a ton of work for a little reward to their organization. And so it didn't make much economic sense for them to continue it, and also doing it for a decade. They probably want to maybe celebrate the 4th with their own family for once. So by being very crunch on the budget, it did, I believe, lead to burnout, but also what I didn't like seeing at the very end of it was they were forced to really push out to local businesses, almost like an ultimatum saying, hey, if you guys want fireworks in the city, these businesses need to step up, and the businesses here in town really get a lot thrown at them significantly. So I think that's a little bit much. So the request of the $5,000, I think is appropriate in two ways. One is, I think the last time there was an increase in that 2,500 was 47 years ago. I made up that number because I have no historical knowledge. But it's been a while. It's been a real long time, and inflation, the $2,500 was originally established, obviously doesn't keep up with the purchasing power of today. So that $5,000 basically pays for a quarter of the fireworks that we have. So I think that's it definitely helps the cause onto that. I'm grateful to Mike and Diamond. They stepped up this year to help take care of the fireworks, and that was a big relief off of my shoulders immediately. But we cannot expect a local business to keep on funding that every single year. So the challenge is on me for those income streams. So I think it's a modest request with such a cornerstone event to increase it. Just if you want to say it's the cost of an inflationary increase or whatever you want to present, but I think it's a simple request. Just proud report is I did make some updates. I did add a component where this is becoming a fundraiser for all city nonprofits. So as they can help out, there's ways for them to raise some money themselves into this, instead of having one organization run it and keep all the profits, if any, to be made, is creating this into a more inclusive event. Onto that, the Open Doors doesn't need to be making a bunch of money for anything. I was proud that we moved the stage, the music, to be more inclusive to family, not just the beer tent, but to make it more inclusive to everybody. And I think the Miltonites have long appreciate the food trucks that we have coming to town, especially at the library. The food truck rally there is very popular. So those are some updates, just a few of them that I made onto this year. The future, as I'm able to be supported more by the city, this is going to enable other things in the future as I work onto this. Like I would love to have a grandstand and a radio station presenting during the parade. I have a vision of bringing rhythm and booms to Milton. Madison stopped, let's bring it here. Family stages around the event at the carnival, as well as art places where you can actually have performances and things like that onto there. There's no reason why we couldn't have the show choir perform at the Milton 4th of July. We are bringing back softball. And not only that, but why not other sports as well, Little League and things like that, to make it more of a family and inclusive environment that supports a lot of stuff. And then the other thing that I'm working on is looking at capital investments instead of renting things multiple times over the years, looking into investments into owning the stage and owning things that we can have, that we can continue to use, that will reduce the yearly ongoing costs to make it more of a financially stable event. So that's my presentation to you all tonight. Any questions?
Thanks, Derek. Any questions from council? Linda?
No.
No? Wait, Teresa.
No, just that it was a great job.
Okay.
I didn't have questions, but anyone that I talked to, as well as ourselves, thought it was a terrific celebration and terrific music, all of it. Well, good job, Derek.
Thanks, Teresa.
Linda? You're muted. And then Larry after Linda's done.
Great job,
Thanks, Linda.
for real. And thank you for taking this on the way that you did. I know that it was a huge leap for you to do this, and thank you for the presentation and giving us a little more information about your Open Doors Foundation also.
Thanks, Larry, or Linda, Larry.
Yeah, I just wanted to say I had the opportunity to attend. My wife and I haven't danced so much in a lot of years through the Vito band that was there. We really enjoyed ourselves. And the other thing is I was asking a lot of people where they came from. And surprisingly, quite a few people were not from Milton, were from other surrounding communities that came in. So I think that's a good sign that you have something worth building on and continuing to build on. So.
Anything from anybody else?
Just thanks for stepping in, and not just as a stopgap measure, but your commitment comes through in your presentation. So thanks for that.
Thanks, Bill.
I agree with what Bill said, but also say that I thought the event was actually better than some previous years this last year. So I think you did a really good job, especially having to pick it up kind of almost last minute.
Yeah. Thanks, Ron.
It was a lot to take on. It's not just making cookies and it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. So it's pretty amazing that you were able to pull that off. Anything for anybody else? Okay. All right. So last but not least, the gathering place.
Thank you, Anissa. Hello, everyone. Dave Fisher here from the Gathering Place. Before I get started, I just want to say that both Derek and Keaton did a wonderful job with their presentations. I hope that we can all agree that we need to support them in everything that they're doing. It's great for the community at large, and they all need to be patted on the back because they do a great job. For those of you that don't know me, I'm the executive director of the Gathering Place here in Milton. I thank you for letting me talk to you a little bit tonight. I too have a little PowerPoint that hopefully won't drag on too long, but let me just say this moving forward is that we want to thank you very much. Last year, you folks gave us $20,000, speaking for everybody on the board of directors, members, etc. We want to thank you for that support. It certainly is appreciated and goes a long way in helping us making ends meet. So what can I tell you that I haven't told you in the last 8 years? I can tell you a lot of things, and I'll just share a few things. Some of the statistics that are ongoing that you'll enjoy hearing is that, and before I say that, listen, COVID hit us hard last year. We were closed for 9 months in 2020, the first 3 months of this year. It was a struggle. We lost a few of our members to COVID. It's been a difficult time, and I know it has affected in us, and I know it's affected all of you in special ways. And it's just a tough year, and I'm glad we're putting it behind us. But just in review, some of the things that you might be interested in a normal year. The Gathering Place has about 70 visitors a day that come through our building, participate in activities and programs. That does not include the special events that we have throughout the year, fundraisers, rentals, and so on. I'll show you some slides a little bit about that illustrates that. But all things considered, year in on a normal year, we have about 23,000 visitors that come through our building. This year, to this point, we're about, I'd say about 10% below what our normal year was. Most folks have come back, but it's been a slow process. But we have several thousands of people that come to our program every year, and I think Keaton spoke on it brilliantly about really what those folks do when they come to town and all the other things that happen as a result of them being at her space, our space, and what it does to the community, because folks just stop in and do their gig and then they go and spread out and buy gas and have a glass of wine and do some shopping. So I piggyback up on what she said. She did it brilliantly, and you just need to know that it's more than just a visit when folks come here. They come and spend time and money here in our lovely town, and which is a wonderful community. On a normal year, we'd host about 50 special events. We have a lot of weddings. We have a lot of birthdays, anniversaries, celebrations of life. We do fundraising, as you will see in a little bit. So about almost every weekend, I'd say 50 weekends a year, we have an event going on at the gathering place that's regular from our regular programming. So without any further ado, let me get you to a slideshow. I'll walk you through it and just show you some highlights. I think you'll enjoy it. And then you can grill me with questions later on. Okay, here's our location, 715 Campus Street. I think everyone's familiar with that. Activities are abound in our facility. Here's some illustrations of them. We're quite proud of all the things that we got going on, and you can see from the folks that are participating, they seem to enjoy it. Community trips. We do a lot of community trips, probably twice a month we go somewhere. Here's some featured events that we've done in the past that have been very cool. Where there's animals, we like to go. Seniors and critters seem to go hand in hand. Derek mentioned it a little bit about our fishing club. I'm quite proud of what's developed with our fishing club. It just started with a little seed of a couple guys wanting to get together, guys that like to fish and lost their fishing partners, and we just kind of built on that. We got about 65 guys strong now. We do a lot of things. We do fishing, but it's more than just fishing. There's a lot of community support projects that we do. In that front and center photo is the picture of a fish crib that we built out on Storrs Lake. What is a fish crib? Well, we build these things. When the ice melts, they drop into the water, and small fish congregate there, and it gives them an opportunity to live, try and grow old before they get eaten by other fish. But anyway, it's a project the guys have tackled. We've done cribs on Gibbs Lake, Storrs Lake, and Clear Lake. I'm not sure where we're going to do one this year, but we do some neat stuff. And then, the folks at our Wisconsin magazine heard about it. They wrote an article about it last winter, and we were featured in that article. It's pretty cool. I'm pretty proud of those guys, and they do a great job. And one of the things that we did a couple of years ago with the high school fishing club, Don Verwink invited us up to the Capitol. He was working on a bill, and his committee had us come and talk on the floor of the House there, and we talked a little bit about what we were wanting him to support, and it gave the kids and us a real opportunity to see how things run politically, and it was really a neat experience, and everybody benefited from that. Even us old folks kind of enjoyed Don's hospitality and seeing how things work at the Capitol. Services, we have lots of services within our building, lots of health services, and the AARP has services that we participate in, on top of the fact that we have a gal that comes every week and does some alterations, and people really take advantage of that. Presentations, programs, and classes, it kind of speaks to itself. We have lots of things going on. When Elvis is in the building, it's a pretty big deal. Special events with regards to classes and arts and crafts, and we've even had those Stoughton Norwegian dancers in a few times. They bring and fill the room with entertainment. Just a variety of things that shows up in our newsletter that we do every month, and I'm quite proud of our staff for what they do with regards to that. Community events. We've enjoyed in the past being in the parade with some of our floats that we've developed, but then you can see some of the other events that we have that we're pretty known for. Pumpkin Fest on your left and hot dogs with Santa on the right. You can see by the illustrations some of the folks that enjoy our events. But one of the things that hits home and is pretty special to a lot of us at the gathering place is our Veterans Day celebration. We have a free lunch that we provide to veterans and Rosie Riveters. We do it on Veterans Day, and we usually have a catered meal in and a presenter this year on Veterans Day, Thursday, November 11th. We've got a lunch catered by Newts, free to charge to as many folks that want to come. And Colonel Mike Williams is going to be the host speaker, and he will keep the crowd entertained, and he's a great speaker. So folks, if you know folks, excuse me, veterans or folks that would enjoy that, have them give us a holler. We'll get them on the list and they come in and have lunch with us. We're probably known around the community as the concert folks. You know, we have concerts on the lawn. We have big crowds, 200 to 300 folks come out every concert through the summer. We're going to double our concerts starting next year, and I'll show you why in just a minute. We do a lot of intergenerational events. We host an annual 6th grade essay contest. And one of the fun things that we do, we didn't do this stuff last year, but we hope to do it again next year, is the oral history with the high school history classes. We have the entire history classes in the high school and the junior classes. 270 kids come over, and we have about 100 volunteers. They sit down and interview our seniors, and then they do a report. It's a really cool event. We're shuffling folks in and out all day that day, but it is a real treat for the kids, and our seniors certainly enjoy visiting with them when they put that school project together. We spoke about rentals. Rentals and fundraisers are our main source of income, besides the Allen Foundation grant. I've got some featured pictures here. All these pictures were taken at the gathering place. The picture front and center was a bride that was here, and I just think it's just a beautiful photo. But we have lots of rentals, and we're quite proud of that, and we do them all year round, as the picture in the upper right hand shows. And then on top of that, we've got birthdays and reunions and showers and celebrations of life, etc. And just so you know, when we decorate the gathering place, it really is a showcase place to visit. Also, we do a lot of fundraising. Our biggest fundraisers of the year include our fish boil in June, and then we try and do a lot of special things throughout the year. And up the right-hand corner is a picture of a masquerade ball we had one year. It was a lot of fun. But between rentals and fundraisers, we generate really close to $100,000 a year, which helps us pay the bills and keep this place going. But I wouldn't be remiss if I didn't mention the senior nutrition program. The Rock County Council on Aging rents our space out for meals for seniors. Generally, before the COVID hit, we'd have folks come in and dine, and then have home delivered meals come out of our kitchen. But the last 2 years, we have a pickup service where folks can come in and pick up a meal and take it home and eat. And then also we continue to have home delivered meals. But we serve about 8,000 meals a year, lunches a year out of this program, and we're quite proud to host that year after year. Now I want you to sit back and relax a second. I got a video here that's about the Gathering Green. I know you're familiar with it. Sit back and enjoy this. There's no sound, but this is what the Gathering Green is going to look like when we get her done. All right, that presentation was, I'm sorry, that presentation was put together by Angus Young. It's kind of an illustration of what the final product is going to look like. I'm sure all of you've been by it or have heard about it, at least adjoining our building. That's a 2-acre development that we've been working on for several years, and we finally put it to fruition and getting it started about a year and a half ago. It's in 3 different phases. The first phase was the excavation and the parking lot along with the sidewalks. The second phase is the pavilion, and the third phase will be our concession stand area. We're just about done with we are done with phase 1, and we're just about done with phase 2. We've got a little bit of work to do. We got the last piece of it will probably be included. The tech ed class at the high school is going to be building our pergolas for us. And then the rest of the excavation will be done by Scylla. And that piece will be done probably within the next month. And then hopefully we'll be breaking ground soon on the concession stand and hopefully have that up and running for next year. We're very, very excited about it. I'm just telling you folks, if you don't already recognize this, the gathering place sits on 5.5 acres in our wonderful little community. And when this development is finished, there'll be no senior center in the state of Wisconsin like ours. And I think we should all be quite proud of that fact. We know we are at the gathering place, and it's going to be a feather in the cap of the gathering place, but it's not just for the gathering place, it's for the whole community. And these 2 slides right here show you that. Boy, we've got a couple that walks every morning. He drops her off, and they drop off at the parking lot. They take a little walk around the space. It's their therapy. And then we have some visitors almost every night that are walking the grounds. This father and son are enjoying the stage that's put up, and we're quite proud of that. It's just another example of what, you build it, they will come. We're confident of this. And what a showpiece it will be for the community and the gathering place as well. And the gathering place is where friends become family. We're quite proud of that fact and such. But just in closing, I want to thank you again for the money and the support that you've given us. Our request has been $30,000. And when you break it down, I know Al talked about the budget and how you guys budget. I mean, we all got budgets. It's critical. But our appeal is for 30 grand. Okay, what does 30 grand pay for? In the big picture of the budget, it basically pays for keeping the lights and the heat going and the water and the insurance for the space. Those bills alone are over $30,000 a year. And that's basically, when you look at the basics of what we can use that money for, that's what it's for, or what it could be used for. And when you look at what we do for the community and be a part of this wonderful community, it's a small price to pay. I hope you consider it, and we'd be much obliged. And I'd love to answer any questions you have about anything that happens at the gathering place, including the Gathering Green development.
Thanks, Dave. Thanks for the presentation and the update. I'll just go around and see if anybody has any questions, or does anybody have any comments or anything?
I can go first.
Okay, Larry.
Exciting. It's a neat project. It's a neat program. Unfortunately, the last couple of years, I haven't been able to get over there as much as I used to, because I decided to go back to work part-time. And of course, I'm not able to attend the activities there like I was. But I appreciate, Dave, what you and the staff are doing in the board, and for the community and for the gathering place as well. And it's just exciting. It's going to be a really, really nice asset to the community and to your organization. So.
Thank you, Larry.
I think once am I back on?
You're on. You're good, Teresa. Go ahead.
Okay. I think once the project is done, things and the pandemic is over with, it will really be a nice project with the city. During the last 2 years, things have been limited. There have not been a lot of opportunities to do fundraising, and we need to look at getting the community back into the senior center. As Dave pointed out, we've lost some people that, you know, it's been very difficult, not only for the staff, but for other people coming in to use the gathering place. So, and the project that is being done behind the gathering place has all been done by fundraising. It hasn't been done by any of the tax dollars or anything that's been given to them. So it's very exciting to be a part of it.
Thanks, Teresa.
Thank you.
You had a question. When's the first concert that'll use the new stage?
I'm sorry, who asked that question?
I did.
Bill, I'm sorry, I didn't see you up there in the corner. Listen, I tell you what, I'm putting together the lineup for next year. I haven't secured a single band yet. However, we're going to go to 2 concerts each month. We're going to have them the 2nd and 4th Thursdays during June, July, and August. And my goal, and I think I can achieve it, but we haven't had the Main Street Big Band for 2 years, and we want them to be our opening act in June, because we've always crowded them on a little bitty stage, and now they're going to be able to spread out and really perform. And I'm hopeful that that Harold and the group from Fort Mills or Lake Mills can join us, because they are really a popular group to see. So mark your calendar. I don't know what day it is, but it's the 2nd Thursday in June. Hopefully we'll have them on stage.
That's a whole lot better than a hay wagon.
You better believe it.
Anything for anybody else? Linda.
I just want to say that I volunteered for the Pumpkin Fest this year, and even with the COVID issues going on right now, there were so many families that came, and I've done that for a couple of years, and there are different people coming to these events and checking out the gathering place. It's not always the same people. It truly is an asset in the community.
Thank you, Linda.
Thanks, Linda. Anything else for anyone? Well, I just want to thank our presenters tonight. I know this is one of our longer meetings, and I really appreciate you spending the time with us and sharing information and giving us kind of a little bit of a taste of what your nonprofits are working on, how hard you're working, and the value that you bring to the community. And that will be something that the council will continue to take into consideration as we finalize our budget going forward. And if anybody from the council or staff have any questions, or if you have any follow-up information that you would like to share with us, please feel free to do this. This is not the last time that we're obviously going to discuss the budget and our allocations. So I just want to thank everybody. I also want to thank everybody that's been on our Zoom meeting so far. We are about halfway through, and I know there are folks here that have yet to hear their agenda items. So I appreciate your patience and sticking with us. So thank you again, and we're going to move on to item number 10, unless there's something I'm missing on 9 before we go. Okay, we'll go on to item number 10. As always, everybody is free to stay and free to leave. Item number 10, discussion and possible action regarding the notice of public hearing on the 2021 City of Milton annual budget.
So this is an item that we approve every year that sets the date for the public hearing. If you remember on the last slide of my presentation, we have that scheduled for November 16th. So unless there is a desire to change that date, by approving this item, it will set that public hearing for November 16th.
Larry? You're on mute.
Elderly man again. I move that we would set the public hearing for the 2022 budget on November 16th, 2021.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any questions or comments on that before we vote on this? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Is there anyone opposed? All right, that motion carries. We'll keep moving. Discussion and possible action regarding resolution 2021-20, adopting revised wards in the city of Milton.
Okay, so I will take this one. So every 10 years, the city is required to adjust the boundaries of the election districts after the census data is available. And the 2020 census for the city of Milton resulted in a total population of 5,716 persons. And part of the process is first the counties were required to develop a tentative supervisory district plan for their county boards. And then after that, municipalities are required to revise the boundaries of election wards. And each ward in the city of Milton needs to be between 300 and 1,000 people. So October 7th, we were told Rat County approved the tentative supervisory map and allowing the city of Milton to begin creating their map. And so now, based off of that map, the city of Milton is all located within one supervisory district. So prior to the census, the city had 13 established wards, and 3 of those wards had a population of 0. And then the additional wards that were added with those populations of 0 were added within the past 10 years for various reasons. So the proposed redistricting map that I have presented for tonight has been reduced to 9 wards with an average of 600 to 680 per people in each ward, and it allows for possible development in each area. So then the resolution, which there was an update to the resolution, which I sent out earlier today. It originally only included the census blocks, and I did add the physical location. That's a full description of each.
And does anybody have any questions for Jenny?
I guess.
I'll just go ahead, Bill.
Yeah, I'll mention what Jenny just mentioned, the fact that we will be, the city of Milton itself, the whole of the city of Milton itself will be a supervisory district. And before there were fragments of the city that weren't included in the county supervisory district. It happens that Milton, Edgerton, and Evansville are all almost exactly the right size to be districts. And so we've got more coherent districts. There are some of us that liked Plan A or Plan 1 that was presented to the county board, but this plan is better than what we've dealt with for a 10-year period of time.
And Bill, in both plans, was the city of Milton its own supervisory district?
Yeah, in both plans, the city of Milton and the other cities I mentioned were coherent wholes.
Linda, any questions or comments for Jenny?
No.
Devin?
No.
Teresa?
No.
Larry?
No.
Brian?
Nope. Looks good. Nice planning for future.
Is this Mark S? Is it adopt just one vote, one meeting, not adopt and
No, you'll just be a motion to adopt the resolution. That would be that, and that's it, just that one action.
okay. Is there a motion? Linda?
I'll make a motion to adopt resolution 2021-20, adopting revised wards in the city of Milton.
Teresa, are you
Second.
second? There's a motion and a second. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Anyone opposed? All right, that resolution passes and we have revised wards based on the census. Discussion and possible action regarding the work order to create, update the city's official map.
This is a work order from Baxter and Woodman to update our official map in compliance with our ordinance. Items to be included will be parkways, parks, drainage areas, open spaces, historic districts, playgrounds. This is something that we do from time to time. It's been several years since the last full review of the map has been completed. The work order amount is a not to exceed fee of $4,800. So if there's any questions. Linda?
Does this include trails?
I don't think that's specifically detailed in the ordinance section. However, I believe our official map does have some trails, like I think the some of the Ice Age trail is shown on it. We could certainly include whatever we want as well. It doesn't have to be limited to just what is in the ordinance.
I was just thinking that if you're already going to have parks in there, then rather than come up with a different map to show trails, could we just not incorporate that in it?
Yeah,
Mark,
I think that'd be fine. I don't know if Mark, if you have any comments on that, but, and I guess I would add too, that with mapping, a lot of this is going to the way of GIS. So we're able to create different maps with different layers. So really this is just to get us in compliance with our ordinance.
And we do have a layer established for trails in Milton, so it's easy enough for us to create a map if we do want that. And we do have one created that's on the website now, and I can send you a link to it, Linda, if that's what you're looking for. And then we can talk more about any modifications we might want to make.
Sounds good.
Larry?
Well, I just had a general question, kind of like off of Linda's topic, but similar. Do we look for future, we put future thoughts onto this map too, future sites? Does that make sense when I say that? Like potential sites for parks or potential sites for other services down the road as we expand?
No, this is just the official city map that's required by state statutes and ordinances. It's not.
Okay.
All of those maps that you're asking for already exist.
Yeah.
This is the one that's required for by ordinance.
Okay.
So it's just the official city map. Maps with future growth are all included in our comprehensive plan.
That's true.
Maps with parks and future parks are in our comprehensive plan, and our corp trails are all included in our comprehensive plan and our corp. This is just the official city map that is required for us, required to be adopted. So all those
by the state
already exist.
By the state, Al?
Yep, by
Okay.
ordinance.
By ordinance, gotcha. Okay, that's helpful. Thank you.
And,
I just didn't want to confuse people.
These maps do exist within the GIS that we've been developing over the years.
Yeah.
So while I may have misspoke a little bit on what we would include on this official map, these layers that we're talking about as far as parks and expansion areas,
yeah,
they're out there and can be produced on a map within the boundary of Milton, if that makes sense.
That's what I needed. Thank you.
I wonder at some future council meeting that we don't have 25 pages of agenda items that we could do like a presentation of just maps, right? So everybody can familiarize themselves with what's available, and there really is a ton. It's really easily accessible, but I think sometimes we just forget how to navigate those systems. So maybe at a future council meeting, that might be a fun, interesting activity to do. Anything from anybody else? Linda?
I'd like to make a motion to approve the work order from Baxter and Woodman to create the official map for not to exceed the amount of $4,800.
Second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Anything further for anyone? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Is there anyone opposed? All right, that motion carries. Discussion and possible action regarding contract award for industrial lead track construction.
Mark, did you want to take this one? You're muted.
So this is for the T-rail extension out at Putman Parkway to reach the Clausen site. TerraTech Engineering prepared the bidding plans. The city bid the plans, or provided the project documents for bid, and we received the bids. TerraTech reviewed the bids and provided the letter that's attached here, discussing the bidders, that they've all provided the required documents, and is recommending Harbor Contractors of Plainfield, Illinois to complete the project.
Any questions or comments from anybody? Linda?
I'll make a motion to approve the contract award for Harbor Contractors in Plainfield, Illinois, not to exceed 1511735.00.
Second.
Ryan? Teresa? I don't know if someone's commenting or they're seconding right now.
No, he seconded.
I said second.
Okay, all right. There's a motion and a second. Is there any questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, that motion carries. There's been some folks waiting a long time for number 14. Discussion and possible action regarding an offer to purchase 16 acres of land along Putman Parkway.
So this is an offer to purchase by Signature Warehousing LLC. I know that I've kind of let folks know periodically of the progress of this property or this project. They are now in the position where they have presented us with an offer to purchase 16 acres of land along Putman Parkway. This is the land that we purchased earlier this year in order to extend the rail to the Clausen Quality Chocolates. It is their intent, once the offer to purchase is approved by the council, to begin their due diligence and work with city staff to develop a TIF development agreement and have a site plan brought forward to construct a large-scale distribution and warehousing facility on that site. The offer to purchase obviously has a number of contingencies on it that we will work through together, and then hopefully this winter we will bring forth those other items such as a developer's agreement and a site plan. But this starts to kick off the process and begins kind of a more official discussions. And I see Darren and Joel and Attorney Davis are on the line. So if there's any questions about the offer to purchase, certainly they could chime in, but it's fairly straightforward at this point.
All right, anything for anyone? Brian?
Seems straightforward enough.
Is there a motion, Larry?
I was just, before I motion, I just want to say thank you, and we welcome you to our community. We appreciate your efforts in bringing further business and growth to our community. So thank you. I can make a motion if you'd like, but.
For sure, we would like.
Okay. I move that the proposed sale of the 16-acre parcel be, I move that it's approved. Thank you.
Second.
All right, there's a motion and a second. Any further questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Is there anyone opposed? All right, great. That motion carries. And anybody's welcome to stay. Again, you're also free to leave.
Thank you all.
All right, have a good night.
Thank you very much.
You guys are out west, right? So it's earlier, right?
Dinner time.
It's not so late for you.
It's 8 o'clock here. I should have been in bed an hour ago.
Thank you all. You got a great community. Take care.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
All right, we'll go on to item number 15, discussion and possible action on naming the Tower Hill Park Prairie, Bendelin Prairie.
So last year when the Parks and Recreation Commission was putting together the comprehensive outdoor recreation plan, they included that they wanted to name the prairie at Tower Hill Park Benlin Prairie in recognition of the David and Barbara Benlin's contributions and commitment to the Tower Hill Park Prairie, the Crossridge Park Prairie, and just generally all of our natural spaces in the city of Milton. Dave Benlin, he was a biology teacher at the high school and had an impact on their outdoor laboratory. And Barbara, she continues to be an amazing influence on the Story Garden subcommittee. So this is something that the Parks and Recreation Commission wanted to do for them in recognition, again, of their commitment to our natural spaces. And they wanted to unveil the sign at the Prairie Seed Pick at Tower Hill Park this Saturday. And we'd like to do a short ceremony at 9:45, and then the seed pick will start at 10. And thanks to Public Works for creating the sign as well for us. So looking for just council approval on that.
The sign is already made.
It's made but not installed.
Okay.
So
I'd just like to say every once in a while, something comes along that you had absolutely nothing to do with, and you're saying, this is just a great idea. You know, these are people who have just really contributed to the community, and it's just the perfect way of saying thank you to them. So I think this is great.
Yes.
Linda?
I'll make a motion that we approve the naming of the Tower Hill Park Prairie to Bendelin Prairie.
I'll second.
There's a motion and a second, and all those in favor say aye.
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 Is there anyone opposed? That's awesome, exciting, and that'll be fun to have that ceremony take place Saturday.
Mhm.
That's really
We
a
had a
nice
really-
gesture.
We had a really nice crowd at the last at the Crossridge Prairie Seed Collection, and I think that there'll probably be a lot of people come for this one.
Yep. Okay, moving right along, discussion, direction, possible action regarding a petition by the city of Milton for membership in the Edgerton Fire Protection District.
So a few meetings ago, the Common Council directed staff to begin the process of requesting membership into the Edgerton Fire Protection District. There's been a number of meetings that have taken place between city council members, the mayor, members of the surrounding townships, and the Edgerton Fire Protection District leadership and boards. We have put together this draft petition at a discussion yesterday with town leadership and town legal counsel. It was kind of decided to potentially further revise the petition. So even the one that was included last week, Friday, that's attached to your agenda is already kind of out of date. But as part of that discussion yesterday, it was agreed amongst the group to hold a special meeting next week, Thursday, at 6:30 p.m. at Milton City Hall, in which we will have an opportunity for all of the entities that are looking to petition the Edgerton Fire District to discuss the petition and how that will impact each individual municipality. So we didn't anticipate that. We certainly knew we had that meeting yesterday, but we certainly didn't anticipate the discussion to go in the direction that it did, and that's a good thing. We're looking to create a more streamlined, efficient, and unified approach towards the petitioning process. So the item that's on the agenda tonight was only intended for discussion anyways. So we can certainly still have a discussion regarding the concept of petitioning the Edgerton Fire District. And the one that will ultimately be presented at that joint meeting next week will look very similar to this one, but it will have changes in it. So I don't want folks to get too hung up on the details of what's in there. But Attorney Schrader and the attorney for the towns, Attorney Ulrich from Nolan Law Firm, are working on further revisions to that petition document. So I guess if there's any questions about the process or the petition, certainly now would be a good time to ask them, but understanding that there will be another meeting next week with the towns, which I think will have a very robust discussion of all parties involved.
Larry.
It is exciting for me, and I think for the whole community, to see how we've come full circle. And I'm just excited about the potential of doing a joint petition. That just, when I saw your memo, Al, my heart raised, because it reminded me that through adversity and stress and struggle, sometimes we come to a solution that makes a lot of sense. So that's exciting. And it makes sense to me for all parties to do a joint one. So thanks for that. So
yeah, we are very excited. I had an opportunity to speak to Chief Pickering again this morning, and we all left that meeting yesterday very excited and hopeful and encouraged about the progress we've made in such a very short time. Certainly at this point, we don't anticipate any delays in the timeline, in the rough timeline that we've created. So again, hopefully next week at the joint meeting, we'll have an opportunity to all discuss it as a big group. And then on the goal is then on November 2nd, the council will have an opportunity to then approve that petition. So it's really good stuff in a very short time. And when folks work together, great things happen.
And it has not, I wanted to comment, gone unnoticed, the unanimous support that the council has shared for this process and collaboration, and that is very much appreciated. And it speaks highly of this council, as you have always strongly supported collaborative efforts to address the fire and EMS services and the improvements that are needed. So thank you for that. There isn't really any action that we need to take tonight. There isn't any further questions. We can go on to the next item. I'm not rushing anybody, but we can go on if there isn't anything too pressing.
I think that this is just really great. I'm very excited about the direction that we're going here.
It's moving very efficiently, and I appreciate the efforts of everybody and the hard work that they're doing, and the way that we have been able to be very adaptive and take in other perspectives and refine the petitions and the concept as we move along. So we appreciate that.
And thank you to Al for all of your, Al and Mark, for all of your hard work on all of this and all of your time that you're putting into it. It shows, and we thank you.
Thank you. And just to make sure everybody knows, Linda was referring to Mark Schrader, not Mark Langer.
Boy, good clarification. No,
Not that Mark E does not work very hard on projects.
Oh, he does. He does. He's kind of smiling.
Yeah, he is.
There goes that boss's day celebration.
Yeah.
So we'll go on to item number 17, if everybody is good to go on to that. And as you, if you have questions or comments or anything, obviously reach out to Al on any of those questions or to myself. But Al's been the one that's been available to kind of meet with everybody. So
yeah, and although I'm gone the rest of this week, you can certainly email me or give me a call, and I will certainly work with Chief Pickering and Jenny and the other clerks on developing some sort of agenda. For the meeting next week, we will notice it as a meeting of the Common Council, so everybody can attend. We don't want anybody to be left out.
And just so we don't forget, we'll have to notice it as a meeting of the Fire Commission too.
Wouldn't hurt.
Yep. Okay. All right. 17, review of September financial statements. Whoever is going to take this, it's fine with me.
So I am actually going to take this one. Okay. So Kelsey and I worked together on the financial statements for September. There were no highlights that were outstanding or any red flags at this point, but one item of note is that a separate revenue and expense account have been set up for the lead service line replacement program. And in September, the first reimbursement from the DNR was received in the amount of $24,985, and we'll continue to receive these periodically. Then at the end of September, the program has paid a total of $80,580 to contractors for the repairs that have been made.
Mark E, does that sound about right to you? I could see his eyes moving and he was adding and subtracting numbers while you were talking. So,
and that's just through September. There is more that's coming in October.
Not to second guess Kelsey and Jenny, but just in case there was a 0.25% or something that we might be missing.
And next month, Kelsey will be taking these over completely.
Oh, awesome. We'll be excited to hear from you, Kelsey. And we'll hear from you for team building anyways tonight. So, all right. Anything for council on the September financial statements? Okay, we are getting there. We are so close. We are at general items. Don't unmute yourself all at once. Okay, gone. Committee reports. All right, Parks and Rec met last night. Now, come on.
We had Plan Commission earlier today. They approved the offer to purchase, they made a recommendation about the offer to purchase that was approved tonight. They made a recommendation about the transfer of land to the school district, which is approved tonight. And they made a recommendation to approve the land division out in the Bonnie Mead subdivision that was also approved tonight. So sorry, Inga.
That's fine. Parks and Recreation Commission did meet last night, but we didn't have a quorum. But we did celebrate with Howie his last Parks and Recreation Commission meeting with some cupcakes, and we invited him to the annual 2-for-1 burger night for Parks and Rec at Junction Pub.
And when will this be?
In December.
In December.
Yeah.
So we still don't know when Howie's retiring. Fine, Howie, fine.
Inga, does Howie get 2-for-1 or only 1-for-1?
We're gonna give him a burger for free. We'll buy it for him if he comes.
There you go.
Someone will give him half of a burger.
That's good. Okay. You got to treat him right.
Right.
Yeah. Historic Preservation also met since our last council meeting, and we're working on a Zen and Now video And we're also working on possibly maybe a joint effort event maybe for next year called kind of an Indigenous Peoples Weekend or month type activity
Oh,
in the city.
that is really kind of exciting. Cool. So
And
when,
actually, to add to that, it's more than just Indigenous people. We're also looking at Indigenous like plants, foods, things like that too. Sorry.
that's awesome. That'll be exciting. I can't wait to see the Indigenous plants that you're coming up with.
So that's
Chief.
some of the areas we're working on.
Staff reports. Chief Marquardt?
I was wondering if you said chief. I wasn't sure.
I did say chief. I did.
Excellent. Yeah, and I have nothing, so no report.
Well, you might get some speed signs in a half of a car.
Yeah, and let's do the top half this time.
Okay, Ashley.
Not too much. We're just doing what we always do. Having fun, taking ghost pictures, buying skeletons here. But we do have 2 upcoming story walks. We have one on Monday, October 25th at 4 p.m. at Cross Ridge. That's kind of in collaboration with the Milton 4K program. And then we have another one on Halloween here at the library from 1 to 4. So 2 opportunities to do a story walk. And we just had a story walk at Stores Lake. So hopefully people are able to go out and view that one. I really enjoyed being able to have the opportunity to have a story walk out there. So hopefully we'll be able to do that. Maybe when it snows. I think it'd be kind of fun.
Yeah.
That's what we've done.
Okay. Inga.
I don't think I have anything.
Okay. Jenny.
In the next couple of weeks, I'll be sending out letters to create a list of potential election officials for the 2022 to 2023 term. So if there's anyone that is interested that is not an election official that you may know of, send them my way. And that's all I have.
Kelsey, anything?
Oh, just learning the Milton way with everything.
The Milton way is really the only way. Thanks and welcome. I'm glad you're having a good first couple of weeks. I'm just assuming you're having a good first couple of weeks.
Yes, it's going good. Everybody's been very helpful.
Awesome. Howie, I don't know if this is the last or the second to the last or the third to the last report you're going to give, but.
Not sure. Anyways, they're starting leaf collection and just getting ready for winter things. So.
That's it.
That's it.
Mark, E.
To date, there has been 60 eligible approved lead or galvanized service replacements for a total of $287,181. Otherwise,
awesome.
Cottonwood Lane is basically wrapped up. A couple punch list items on there on that project. Kind of starting work on some stuff for next year. Yeah.
Mark, are they all taken care of, or do you think there are some out there yet? Just curious.
No, we have more.
Okay, that's why I wondered.
Yeah, future discussion may need to be had about that, but
okay,
with the revised lead and copper rule coming out, so.
Thank you.
Do you feel pretty good about the number or the level of participation we've had?
I didn't really know what to expect in talking with some colleagues in different communities early on in the project this year. Some said participation was really hard and some said it was like pulling teeth. I think going into it, we knew of about 110 services, if I recall correctly. We've certainly found some more through the process, but we've replaced several. Like I said, hopefully 60 or more will be replaced when it's all said and done. I think staff did a really good job reaching out. We sent out some letters, put some stuff in newsletters. Staff had some historical knowledge or otherwise that, they did some outreach as well. There's still some time, so if people are interested, we do have about a month, but the window is certainly closing for this round of the grant.
Okay. All right. I'm going to Al. Did I miss anybody? Okay.
Yeah, I think my update was kind of the whole meeting. Budget
right.
in development, things are going great. We're very happy to have everybody, City Hall staff back at full staff for the first time in a while. And, you guys get to see, Jenny and Inga and now Kelsey pretty regularly. But, I also can't speak highly enough about the two folks that help us in the office, Ashley and Tammy. We've got really just a great group of folks, and we're lucky.
Great, that's good. All right. Team building. I was really tired. I was really having a hard time getting through this whole meeting, but now I'm not tired anymore. So here we go. This is really easy, very easy. And you can answer any one of these questions or all of these questions. And how long it takes really depends on Mark E and Mark S's holdout time at the end.
Can they go first?
So if y'all want to be here till 9:30, you can just blame them if you're missing like 2020 or something, or The Voice, or God knows what. But I'm missing Netflix, The Ranch. I just want to tell you right now, I'm in the middle of that series. All right, so here we go. What scares you? Or what are you scared of? Or what is something that you love to be scared by? And it can't be council meetings.
I really, and I think Chief Barkworth would agree with this, I really like horror movies. I really do, especially science fiction ones. Even when I know they have like a terrible rating on Rotten Tomatoes, I'll still give them a try.
Attack of the Killer Tomatoes.
Large spiders or snakes?
Really? You're like a little girl?
Mm-hmm.
So do you make your wife and kids? You make your wife and kids kill them for you?
No, I usually take care of them. But when I was like 10 years old, I came home. I remember getting home from a trip with my family, and I walked into my room, and there was what seemed like a giant spider. It was probably, that big, but it was all full of eggs, and it just turned the light on. It was like right there. So I don't know.
All right, now you're giving me an upset stomach. Larry?
I'm afraid of spiders also. And when Angela was young, I came home from a work trip and I was really exhausted. And I said, I'm taking a shower and then I'll be more, able to sit down with the family and converse and stuff, because I'd been on the plane for many hours. And so I would got in the shower and I'm sitting down in there, and I had a stool to sit on, because I was exhausted, and I reached back for my soap and I feel this large, hairy creature behind me. I turn around, here's a spider, and I mean, it was a big one. I actually ran out of the shower naked, down the hall, screaming like a little kid. I was 35 years old, going, and of course the whole family's roaring. Here is one of those, plastic ones with the nice furry on it and everything else. So, of course, everybody laughed their butt off, But anyway, I am afraid of spiders. I don't know why. Just I don't like them. So.
Right. We're gonna have to bring in a specialist. I can see that.
I'm going to share an experience that happened earlier today. Had you asked me yesterday, I wouldn't have said that I'm scared of squirrels. But I walked out the back door today, out onto the back porch. And as I opened the door, there was a squirrel that had been, I think, burying a walnut in one of the plants that was sitting out there. and I scared the squirrel, and the squirrel in turn, as it just jumped out of this plant, scared me. As scared as I've been, I think I jumped higher than I've jumped in a long time.
What was the third part of the potential questions?
What you love to be scared by.
I am a huge fan, to my own detriment, of post-apocalyptic fiction.
Oh, God.
Books, stories, movies, short stories. And yeah, it scares the crap out of me, but I enjoy those.
Huh, you and Al.
I have one. So what scares me and it's sad is my cat Charlie dying. That truly scares me. So when I think about that, or I watch TikToks of people's pets dying, I'm just instantly crying and thinking about Charlie. So that scares me.
I can see that.
I
can go.
Go ahead, Kelsey.
I do not like people hiding on me. I have to know where everybody is in my house because I do not want them jumping out and scaring me.
That's a good plan. So you're like GPSing everybody, right? Kevin?
That is exactly what I was going to say. I'm too much of a control freak of needing to know what's going on at all times. So the thought of someone jumping out and me not knowing about it just gets me every time.
Mark S. Oh my God. Everybody must be really tired. They're all texting Mark S on the side. You better go. No.
What scares me the most, watching the evening news.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, I will go. So I am scared of people that are dressed up in mascot style costumes. So Minnie Mouse, Scoopy, A&W Bear. I did not realize how scared I was of them until a few years ago that Rascal the raccoon I had to do a photo shoot with, and I was terrified. So my parents had said when we went to Disneyland when I was a kid, I was scared. And so apparently I just don't like them.
Just be happy we don't have a Burger King in town anymore. that dude's scary.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Howie's muted.
Yeah, not anymore. I was the A&W mascot bear a few times. So
Oh, please don't show up with it.
I won't, not anymore. I was actually in the Tobacco Days parade. But,
that's good.
So let's see. You'd be amazed at things people yell at you. Mostly get a real job, you know. Anyways, probably the most fun thing to be scared about is the grandkids think it's super funny to hide and jump out and I never suspect it, and they think it's hilarious. So just, you know, so that's fun. So
Howie, was it an unbearable experience being the bear?
well, it was about 90 degrees, and they could have bought the one with the fan or not the fan, but it went cheap. So it was fun.
I'm gonna say that my fear is actually June bugs. I'm okay with spiders. I I'm okay with spiders. I have a lot of vacuum cleaners and I can go through and just suck them all up, which is pretty much what I do. But June bugs, they make crackling noises when you step on them, and they just kind of fly into everything and surprise you. I don't like those things. They scare me.
They're gross. They're really gross.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with more. Oh, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I'll say I'm gonna go more more recent era, I guess. Getting stuck in another country because the border shut down.
Yeah.
I'm going to agree with Mark on snakes and kind of a little bit on spiders. I studied abroad in Ecuador and I have some stories about snakes and spiders I'd love to share with you sometime.
Okay, I'll go. My favorite thing, what I love to be scared by, is the Tower of Terror at Disney World. Like, that is my favorite all-time ride ever. That's my scary thing. I don't like spiders and snakes, but I can live with them. I have a lot of spiders in my house. I try to tell myself they're good.
I do love to pretend to be scared by little kids at Halloween. I love greeting the little kids, you know, at Halloween. That's just fun. And if you're really scared by them, that can help if they're supposed to be scary.
Teresa, are we left?
Yeah, I guess so. This one, I really am scared of it, being caught somewhere. And my husband and I were driving in northern Minnesota, and there was a sign you could do a shortcut through the woods or take the highway around. So we were stupid enough to go through the woods and got about halfway through, and this man was off a motorcycle, and you could tell it had maybe broken down or something. He was standing by there, wanted some help. Well, I was driving. Well, I flew right by him. I thought he was going to do something to us. And my husband was like, "Why wouldn't you stop and help him?" I said, "I'm sure he was going to kill us." Just being just that freaked out by someone in the middle of a forest. But something like that just scares the hell out of me. Just being, anyway.
Yeah. Yep. You guys did a really good job. Now I hope you all can go to sleep all right tonight.
No, everybody's going to dream about spiders and snakes.
Yeah.
Well, it won't be just me not sleeping for once.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So,
oh no.
It sounds like our next meeting is October 28th. And then November 2nd after that.
Correct.
Is it 6 o'clock, October 28th?
6:30.
And is there a Zoom option?
What was discussed yesterday was that it would be recorded if possible, but that it would be in person.
And we're all going to wear masks?
Yeah, we can make that, we should make that known.
Okay.
Inga, can we set up a Zoom option?
Yes.
Okay.
If we're going to have,
We had that running before when we were trying to do in person in July. So it is an option. It's just that back and forth dialogue is a little bit more difficult when we're doing it hybrid like that.
if we're going to have masks, make sure we let them know. That's all, right?
Okay. All right. Good job, everybody. It was a long night. It's probably our longest meeting in a long time. So it was great to spend this time with you. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, we're adjourned. And by the way, Sunday, October 24th, this Sunday at 2 p.m., the Milton High School ribbon cutting open house tour.
Yeah.
And Saturday, Dunlin prairie seed stuff. The whole month of October, Ice Age Trail Mammoth Challenge. Okay, that's all we got. All right, goodbye.
All right.
Good night, everybody.
Good night. Thank you.
Night.